Live from the NJ.com studio comes the only weekly TV podcast you'll need, where a lofty critic squares off with an obsessed superfan on everything from highbrow drama to lowbrow reality. The cocktail shaker is ready. Prepare for your TV hangover. Now, your hosts, Vicki Hyman and Erin Medley.
Hello and welcome to TV Hangover. I'm one of your hosts, Erin Medley, alongside Vicki Hyman, your other host. Hi, Vicki. How are you?
Hey.
We are on episode 27, and we're thrilled to be here, of course, as we always are. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at TV Hangover Show, at E_meds, and at Vicki Hy, VICKIHY. We also have an email address, tvhangovershow@NJ.com, and I'd like to note that Jack Lugo, you did email the right address.
Yes, he did.
And
very long email.
Appreciated
it, though.
Look, Jack, you know I watch reality TV shows. My attention span is short. So I will commence reading your email after the show. We'll get back to you next week. Did you read it, Vicki?
I did read it, but I'm not allowed to get back to him. Remember?
Right, that's right.
I am forbidden.
You are. But no, we will read it and we will address it. But for anyone else that has a question or wants to send us a lengthy email, it's tvhangovershow@NJadvancedmedia.com. Speaking of self-promotion.
Yes?
My tweet was featured in the Amazon Echo newsletter.
Oh, that's right. That's very exciting.
How exciting.
How did that happen?
Because I recently purchased the Amazon Echo, and I'd like to preface this by saying Amazon is not a sponsor of the show.
But they can be.
They can be. We don't have any sponsors, so if you want to be one, please email tvhangovershow@njadvancedmedia.com. But no, I recently got an Amazon Echo, and I was in my house, and I was like, Alexa, play TV Hangover Show on TuneIn Radio. And bam, there we were.
Amazing.
On my Amazon Echo, echoing throughout my house. So I tweeted about it, saying how it was both narcissistic and really cool that I was listening to my own podcast.
Which is what life is all about these days.
It really is. And they featured that in their weekly newsletter and shouted out TV Hangover Show. It wasn't just E_meds.
Yes.
It was at TV Hangover Show.
That's pretty cool.
I think look, people are listening. We got at least...
Actually, this just proves that you are listening to your own show.
No, we got that one tweet this week from the woman who said she just discovered us.
Yes, that was very nice.
Very nice.
Shout out to you, too.
Yes, shout out to everyone who's listening right now. So let's get to some TV news. I wish we had, like, a little music when I said that.
How about the little typewriter?
Ooh, yeah.
Teletype.
Producer Alyssa will work on that for next time. But, Vicki, you know that I love...
I just saw the picture,
okay.
so...
You know that I love
yes.
The People's Court. Mm-hmm. I watch it daily. DVR it, actually.
But do you watch Judge Judy, too?
Negative. Not
okay.
Judge Judy.
Why not?
Only The People's Court.
You know, Judge Judy, I read, is like one of the most highly paid people on television.
I think it's like $47 million a year.
It's insane.
It's effing sane. But no, I don't watch Judge Judy. I don't think she listens to the complainants, and I can't get with that. But Judge Marilyn Milian on The People's Court, she's been on for like 15 years at this point. I've actually been to a taping of The People's Court.
You have? Wow.
I'm invested.
Okay.
But I say all that to say, Sarah Palin, former vice presidential nominee, is going to host her own syndicated court show. Sarah Palin, who is not a lawyer.
She's not a lawyer. She has no legal background.
Nothing.
At least she's not up for one of these Supreme Court vacancies.
Oh, well, then that would be a bigger problem. So she is going to be the judge on whatever this show is. She's teamed up with two former top executives in the daytime space, Larry Little, who's now part of CBS, and Big Ticket Productions, which is the company behind daytime court shows such as Judge Judy, Judge Joe Brown. I did watch Judge Joe Brown for a while. Oh, and the other one, the judge who is in Chicago, Judge Mathis.
Okay.
Also watched that one.
Take your word for it.
Anyway, how do you feel about Sarah Palin being a TV judge?
Oh, Grizzly Mom Justice. I'll watch a couple of episodes. What?
Do you think she'll be like, well, back in Alaska, I cannot do an accent. I'm just
no, that is absolutely not Alaskan accent. It's like Middle Tennessee.
Close enough.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I probably tune in for a couple of episodes, and it keeps her busy. So, keeps her out of the political arena.
True.
Yeah, sure.
I think it'll be interesting, to say the least. We'll see. Look, if she can make half of what Judge Judy makes, she'd be set for life.
That's true. And she does... Oh, God, I'm not making a joke about her husband being in a snowmobile accident, but, you know, that is a little sad. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's what's happening in Sarah Palin news. Here's something. Showtime is going to release the full season of Dice, which is Andrew Dice Clay's show.
I interviewed him at TCA.
Did you?
Yes, I got secondhand smoke from him.
He smoked?
Oh my God.
Inside?
Well, no. Like the room that we were supposed to be in was still being occupied by somebody. And so we were near like one of the patios. So we sat on the patio. He's like, you might have a smoke, do you? And I'm like, you know, what are you going to say to Andrew Dice Clay? No, go right ahead. I was like, oh, and I haven't actually like breathed in smoke since like my parents quit smoking when I was like 9. So it was like, ugh. It was unpleasant.
Did he blow it in your face?
No. But we were, you know, we were talking and everything. It was just weird.
It was weird.
He was interesting. It was a very interesting interview, which I will be putting that out closer to the premiere of Showtime.
And the premiere
Showtime show.
Yeah, the premiere date is Sunday, April 10th.
I guess I better get on that.
You better get on that. They're going to release all 6 episodes to subscribers on digital platforms. And then the TV premiere will be later that day. The full season will be available beginning at midnight. And I think it's interesting. Showtime has done this before. They did, something similar, but not the full series. Mm-hmm. I mean, the full season. They released Billions before it aired on
the
TV,
first episode.
And
several weeks
Shameless,
ahead of
right?
time. Yes, I think they did.
Yeah, so this is like the Netflix model, but for a TV network, right? Yes, I think it's a good idea.
I'm wondering if they just know it's. You can think that sometimes maybe they're burning it off like the like some of the networks do, and maybe they don't think it's very good, and they're just going to put it out there, whatever. But maybe they think there's like a huge amount of Andrew Dice Clay fans out there who are really interested. No, it could be one of those like, you know, niche kind of things, and then they'll get other people into it, and people will watch it. I don't know. I enjoyed the first episode. I thought it was very interesting. It's like one of those reality but not reality shows. It's a hybrid. It's not really his life, but it's sort of his life. Enhanced reality.
It's like the Donnie Deutsch show.
I don't watch the Donnie Deutsch show, so I don't know. But it is enhanced reality. It sounded interesting. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I didn't watch I didn't get a copy of the full half hour ahead of my interview, which generally they provide you with. But I sort of like what I saw. Lorraine Bracco, I think, guest stars in it at some point and looks completely unrecognizable. That is all I'm going to say. I was looking at her going like, who is that woman? And then she opened her mouth.
Can
and
I
like,
Google
oh, it's Lorraine Bracco.
I'm going to Google it because I need to know. All right.
Looks good, just different. You know what I mean?
You know what? Someone else the other day, I was like, oh, they look good, but that doesn't look like her. And now I can't remember who it is. Okay. Dancing with the Stars premiered on Monday.
Yes.
Which you're totally not into.
No. I did actually watch 2 things from it. My editor, Chris, who is probably not listening to this, but he's obsessed with the America's Next Top Model winner.
Oh, and how Niall DeMarco?
Who is deaf and how he can dance. And so he asked me about that. But I wanted to watch it because when I saw the Good Morning America segment on it, segment on it, and they sort of came out doing little dances, and Geraldo Rivera looked so incredibly stiff and uncomfortable. I was like, no, I got to watch his. And oh my God. It was such a train wreck, his performance. They called it a minimalist cha-cha because really all he did was sort of like
shuffle
around, basically. And it's like, well, why are you doing this? I don't understand, like, why would he sign up for this?
Because they're paying him money.
You don't think Geraldo Rivera's got a lot of money?
Geraldo Rivera was on The Apprentice. Why would he do that? He was also really
charity.
Annoying on The Apprentice.
He was. I mean, like, he had Geraldo
for charity,
Rivera,
but you don't think they pay those people?
I can't believe you... I'm sure they paid them a sum.
Right.
But I can't believe you didn't watch the Geraldo Rivera one, and that is what everybody must watch after you finish watching listening to the show.
Watch it after the podcast. Or actually, it's a podcast. You can pause it and come back later. I will definitely watch it. The only person I watched was Kim Fields because, you know, she's on Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Was she good?
I thought she was good. Mm-hmm. They said she needs to be more planted in her, like, feet or something, or, like, grounded. They start talking dance lingo. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. But anyway, the ratings were down for this premiere, down 14% from its debut in spring 2015 and its debut in fall 2015.
Has it just steadily been going down?
Of course, all of these shows have been, but it fell 25% from its season 21 finale. I mean, I think that the caliber of stars on this season isn't that great.
I don't know about that. I was actually surprised when they made the announcement that I had heard of pretty much every single one of them, which is not always the case.
True. But are they big names, though?
You
may have
Von
heard of
Miller. I love it when they have anybody on the show who does the touchdown dances. So I like those guys.
That translates to good ballroom dancing.
Yeah, well, they've got some rhythm. He's clearly got some rhythm.
Well, the sports guys always have rhythm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's rare that they don't. Misha Barton.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if she can't be on the OC, she should be on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah. Wasn't that good? I did see a snippet of hers. Yeah.
You know what else the ratings were abysmal for? CW's Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I'm just going to keep picking on the show. Who's watching it?
Why?
No one's watching this.
So why are you kicking something when it's down?
I'm sorry.
It's a good show. Pick on things that have good ratings that are terrible. I mean, do you watch Lucifer?
No.
Okay. I'm surprised.
Do you?
Excuse me? Yeah, I mean, like
I'm probably watching Love and Hip Hop at that time.
There are certain shows that are doing well, I think, because they get lifted by the shows that are around it, which is, I think, unfair. Let's pick on those because Lucifer is terrible.
Fine. Well, no one's watching it either. The ratings for that one also weren't great. Let me see. I can pull them up here. The ratings 1.24.
Well, it hasn't dropped beneath 1 yet.
That's true. Look, Gotham was 3. Well, no, 4.
Don't pick on CW. Don't pick on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Don't pick on my girl.
I watch a lot of CW shows, so it's not... I mean, I used to. Now I'm only watching Jane the Virgin.
Did you ever watch The 100?
No, but I hear it's really good.
Yeah, that is like one of these shows that at the beginning, I watched the premiere and I was like, no desire to watch any more of it. And it's one of those shows that I think has just gotten, from what I understand, has gotten better and better and better. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually now, of course, there are 3 seasons in, and I'm like, well, is it too late for me to start watching? I don't know.
Well, a lot of people said you can skip the first 5 episodes of season 1.
Oh, good.
If that helps. So that's what I've been reading online. I've been binging a lot of shows. I've started the Gilmore Girls.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
Or Gilmore Girls. In anticipation of the
Netflix movies,
whatever they
like
are,
the 4
spring,
movies,
summer, fall, winter, whatever. I also caught up on my Shades of Blue.
Oh wow!
Almost.
Yes, you were telling me about that.
I was in a binging kind of mood this weekend, and I was like, you know what? I have all these Shades of Blue on my DVR. Maybe I should keep watching, and it's fine. It was picked up for season 2, so.
And you learn lots of interesting things about Ray Liotta's character. Which we don't want to spoil that, do we?
Spoiler alert, Ray Liotta's character is bisexual, which I told Vicki took me 3 episodes to even wrap my head around. Like, I'm seeing him kiss dudes. I'm seeing, like, him getting in the alley from another man. And, like, then after 3 episodes, I'm like, oh, my God, he's totally bisexual. I don't know what was happening in my brain. I was not putting 2 and 2 and 2 together. It just wasn't happening. But it's like, I think that's the weirdest plot point of this entire show. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, it's so unnecessary. And I read an interview with the writer-creator, and he basically said, like, Ray Liotta's character and this other character were having a really intense conversation, and they're both really macho guys. And I just thought it was so boring because it's just 2 macho guys talking. So I figured, why not have them kiss? That was like, how the character became bisexual, and I was just like, that makes 0 sense.
Yeah.
So whatever. You know what also made 0 sense? The Passion.
Thank you. Yes.
Let's talk about Fox's live retelling.
Putting my pen down. Let's get into this.
Let's. What
was that?
What the heck?
Okay, I'm going to start out by giving Fox credit for trying something different.
Okay,
let's give them the credit. I mean, and they threw a whole bunch of stuff at this one. So we had Tyler Perry on a stage live in front of an audience, people testifying, basically narrating the story of Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection. Mm-hmm. You had a procession of people in New Orleans bringing a huge illuminated cross to Wildenberg Park. Mm-hmm.
Which is where the stage was set up.
On the riverfront. You had pre-taped segments of the story of Jesus that were updated to the 2000s. So you had Jesus being hauled off by the police and Jesus in an orange jumpsuit. And they were all singing. They weren't singing gospel. They were singing contemporary songs,
pop songs,
that, quote unquote, fit the mood of whatever was going on,
which includes
I'm sorry, can we discuss Thunderdome for a second? We don't need another hero, although they didn't actually sing the words Thunderdome. Oh, I'm sorry, they sang they filled in with different lyrics, so thank God for that. And
Literally,
then
thank
they also
God.
had Trisha Yearwood like MVP, just like shooting back to Trisha Yearwood every 5 minutes, singing out another song at Waldorf Park.
Mary never knew how important she was to the story.
Okay.
Until that night.
Okay. I don't even
Where do you even start? What did you forget?
And then we had the color commentator.
The sideline reporter.
Walking alongside with apparently pre-screened people to interview somebody who was in the army, somebody who lost her son to senseless violence. But she wasn't really like a reporter per se because she's hugging and kissing these people.
It was weird.
I don't know what was going on there. Did you not think that the strangest thing was that they didn't show the actual crucifixion or resurrection?
So
isn't that kind of like key to the whole Jesus thing?
So full disclosure, I am a former Catholic school girl. So I went to Catholic school for 13 years. I know all about the Passion or the Stations of the Cross, and you usually do them on Good Friday. And I've been told by this book my whole life that like Jesus died on a cross. That did not happen on the Passion Live. I mean, we were told by Tyler Perry it happened, but we didn't see it happen.
Very graphically.
Also, where was my favorite prostitute, Mary Magdalene?
Oh, yeah, she was nowhere to be found.
She wasn't there. So how are you going to kind of half tell the story? Like, you want to make it religious, but like not too religious to offend people.
But isn't it all about his suffering?
Yes,
okay.
That's the whole point.
As the Jewish girl says,
he died for our sins, and he went through all this pain and suffering to rise again and save us all. And that didn't happen on this show, whatever it was, the spectacle. Mm-hmm. But this is what I'll say. Whenever Tyler Perry is on something and Medea doesn't show up, I'm happy. So for that, it gets 20 points in my book.
He also seemed to flub a lot. I mean, it's like
he can't read?
Yeah, and I didn't understand
Allegedly.
that. It's like, like this is your project, this is your show. I know it's live. Maybe there were some teleprompter issues, but the whole thing just seemed like very oddly put together.
Wait, speaking of people talking, the microphones that they used for this show were so distracting. They were like huge, like microphone balls next to their...
Yeah, I think they use that on Broadway, right? So
no.
You're not supposed to be able to see it?
No. Well, the ones they use on Broadway, usually they have the forehead ones.
The forehead ones.
So you can't really see those from far away, or they just like a little dot. But no, these were huge microphone ball head things. I don't know how this didn't distract you, but producer Alyssa's over here shaking her head because she agrees.
It actually didn't distract me.
They were very distracting. Also, I want to go back to the point that some of the segments were recorded.
Yes.
Well, then it's not live.
It's not live.
Why? I don't see a reason why they needed to be recorded.
Well, they have to get from... I mean, they didn't have to do it at different places around the city. They did not have to do that, but they did. And I think the idea is that they're tying it into some sort of resurrection of New Orleans after Katrina, which I appreciate. I lived in New Orleans for 5 years. I liked seeing, different parts of the city. It just... It didn't seem to make much sense to me, though. It's not like they really showed off the city in like all of its glory and beauty. It was just sort of like they're in a bar, Jesus with his disciples, and he says, one of yous is gonna, I think that's when he said, one of yous.
She says.
I'm from New Jersey. One of yous is gonna betray me.
That was Peter.
And they were in a cemetery, and you couldn't really see like how, beautiful, interesting those cemeteries really are. Right. I don't know. And I'm sorry. Oh, and that whole scene where like, help me out here.
What?
Peter is the one who has to
deny Jesus
who has to
three
ask.
times?
Yeah, dies 3 times to like random people.
Randos.
I don't know that guy.
Hey,
dude,
weren't you hanging out with that Jesus guy? Nah, never heard of him. I mean, the whole thing was such a mess. And you know what else was a mess? The ratings.
Yeah, it was not good.
The ratings were not good. So it was
6 million?
Yeah, 6 million people watched. Now you would think, of course, it had one of those effects where everyone on Twitter was talking about it, but I mean, not that many people were actually watching it.
So just put it in context, that was half of what Fox's Grease did. Although Fox's Grease had a hell of a lot more promotion than this did.
Yeah, this wasn't promoted well at all. And I also think it aired at a weird time. Like, it aired before Holy Week started. Really?
Well, I mean, I can see why they did. I mean, it could have aired probably any time this week, but they're not going to air it on Easter, Right,
but they could have aired it on Thursday. Well, not against, I guess not against the Shonda shows, but maybe Friday. You know what? Friday.
That is a religion, those Shonda shows.
Yes. Friday wouldn't have been a bad day to air it. I mean, it's Good Friday. People who care about this story are in that mindset already. They've probably, they went through the stations of across that day. And I think it would have made sense. Like, there's nothing else on Friday that people would be watching.
Dr. Ken.
Oh, you know what? You know what? Basketball.
There were no games on that night, or there were
games on, but they were on earlier, and like maybe there was only one on at that time. But
speaking of religions, NCAA.
Yes, that's true. March Madness, not a good time for Jesus. I'm sorry that I watched like the first hour, and then I saw that Blair Underwood was on The Good Wife, and I switched.
Shirtless?
No.
Okay. It
was actually a really sad storyline where his daughter got shot by a stray bullet. Like, it was a stray bullet in their house, and she died. And did you ever watch Gossip Girl?
No.
Okay, forget it then. Reference will be lost on you. Anyway, another show that aired last week that we mentioned is a religion for some people. The season finale of How to Get Away with Murder. Did you watch, Vicki?
Well, I watched last night because I knew it was coming up, and I think I missed the episode before that, so I was a little behind. Mm-hmm. Although, actually, the episode was a little slower than, especially the first half hour. It was
like season finale was very slow.
It was. It gave me some time to sort of like figure out what was going on. There's this whole business with. I know they just wanted to get Cicely Tyson back on the show and hopefully get her like a Best Supporting Actress nominee.
She better get it.
But it was kind of like just weird. Like, why is she spending so much time down in Georgia? Tennessee? I don't know.
Tennessee.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. I watched the episode prior to that, and I was very confused about the whole Annalise having a warrant out for her arrest. I don't remember that happening the week before, but that. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. So I was confused why she ran away.
Well, they sort of explained it like halfway through the episode when she came back, and he's like, well, you told your client to do this, you told your client to do this, and which I guess is a no-no. And then she, of course, brings out the little piece of evidence that shows that, as it turns out, Caleb was the evil mastermind behind the Hepstall murders.
The hot brother who was sleeping with Michaela.
And weirdly having a non-incestuous relationship with his sister.
Oh, it was totally incestuous.
But they only got to first base.
Right.
It was weird.
No, but didn't she say they were doing other things?
It was just a very I didn't even know why they sort of put it in there, like, we don't want to go to incest, but we have to explain why Catherine was so enthralled to Caleb, so it was almost incest.
And then I still didn't understand why Catherine, knowing that, like, the whole Catherine Caleb storyline was a snooze fest for me. I didn't really care. I think the best part was at the very end, like the last 30 seconds of the episode, where, so we find out the previous week, and this is definitely a spoiler alert, so if you don't know, you may want to mute us right now.
Watch Geraldo Rivera on
Dancing with the Stars and then come back. We find out the previous week that this whole time Annalise knew who Wes's father was and that he wasn't dead, and that it was the guy whose son she was defending for murdering his girlfriend or something in Ohio. It's convoluted, but anyway, that rich guy is Wes's father. So Annalise tells Wes that his father's alive. So in this week's episode, Wes travels to New York, and he goes to confront his father outside of his office building. He says, I think I'm your son. And the guy is like, well, who told you that? Something to that effect. And Wes is about to say Annalise Keating. He gets out Annalise, and we hear a gunshot. And then we see blood spatter. And then we see the guy with like a hole in his head.
Yes.
And someone shot Wes's father. And that's how the season ends.
It's one of these shows that it should have an end. It does real, and I made this point before that you can't keep getting away with murder. You can't do it. That's illegal.
It is.
And it just becomes more ridiculous after a while. And it's become so convoluted. I've pretty much lost interest in the show. Mm-hmm. There are a couple of things that I liked about that I like where they're going. I think Asher, when he finally got together with Michaela, he has finally stopped being, this vestigial character, like the most annoying appendix ever. There's like some reason for him. He's finally a little interesting to me now.
Why?
I think he and Michaela have some chemistry. And he's gotten rid of, like, the daddy issues that were plaguing him throughout, like, the first couple of seasons. So
they just forgot about them.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's evolved. I think they just forgot that was part of the story.
He was always pushed the sideline because he didn't know about whatever that murder was. They kept him away from whatever the first murder was. I can't even remember her name anymore.
Lila.
Mm-hmm. And so I just feel like they've finally sort of integrated him into the cast. So I'm like, okay, fine, Asher, great. We find a lot of stuff about Frank.
This stuff is weird. It doesn't make any sense. So basically we find out in the flashbacks 10 years ago when Annalise was pregnant, at least 8 months pregnant.
Yes.
And she was her car was hit by another car. This has to do with Wes's father and whatever. Her car was hit by another car. We find out, and Frank tells the husband, what's the husband's name? Sam. It's my fault Annalise was in the car accident. I went and told...
Frank was feeding information to this family.
To the family who put out a hit on Annalise, so that's why she lost the baby. And Sam's response, instead of, like, basically choking Frank because he lost his child, was to say, don't tell Annalise.
Because it'll kill her. I can't lose my wife as well as my son. And did he say you owe me?
Yes.
Which is ridiculous.
That was
and then apparently they all, like, knew each other and lived for, like, another 10 years.
10 effing years.
Yeah.
And then that's how we're supposed to believe.
Frank's just hanging around with his weird beard.
Correct. And that's why we're supposed to believe hair. That Frank killed Lila for Sam because he owed him this favor from 10 years ago when he had, when he provided the information that had his child.
Yeah, basically
killed.
Child, yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. But she was like 8 months pregnant or something.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
No, literally unbelievable.
And I guess, I think we're supposed to believe that Frank either killed, Wes's father, right, or maybe helped Caleb kill himself because I don't know.
We don't know, but Caleb's dead. He was found with slit wrists in the bathtub.
Yeah,
and I think we can just assume that Caleb committed suicide. I think they were trying to close the door on that.
I mean, if they close the door, good, but I don't believe that his character, being like the evil mastermind that he was, would ever have killed himself. But okay,
true. I don't even think he was that great of a mastermind. That whole story, this season of How to Get Away with Murder, I think it hit the sophomore slump. It was not that good. I'm really happy it was only 13 episodes that we had to suffer through. And when it comes back next season, it has to do better, or it will be canceled.
It has to do better, but it's like one of the things that annoys me is, like, are they still in law school? Do they ever go to law school? Is she still a professor?
Yeah, sometimes.
Can we just, like, move forward with this device that they are her, eager little, beavers helping her solve cases is ridiculous. They have to actually go to school or graduate at some point.
We saw them in class maybe 2 times this season.
Maybe 2 times. Because they did away with a lot of the crime of the week.
Which
sort of
I
thing.
like the crime of the week.
I do like it. It also, is kind of ridiculous because it all happens so quick. And you're like, right. I know how I get. I'm sorry.
You're ornery.
I'm ornery about, like, reality and like things proceeding as they should.
Wow. Speaking of, not on our list of topics for this week, but I thought we should talk about it for a couple of minutes. The People versus O.J. Simpson.
Oh, I didn't watch it last night.
But did you watch last week?
Yes, I'm totally up to date except for last night.
Okay, so last night's
episode, I was watching How to Get Away with Murder.
Oh, wow. Last night's episode was all about the jurors.
Yeah.
I'll say, I binge watched those first 6 episodes. We got them as screeners. And then I picked up last week because I was the first episode.
Which was a great episode.
Back. Yes, with the gloves.
With the glove, and also with I'm totally a shipper of Marcia Clark and Christopher Darden.
But not now. After the gloves, there's
I know it's
the
gone.
love is lost.
I know, but I was really rooting for those two.
Wow. I thought this episode was interesting. I wondered how they were going to focus on the jurors for an entire episode, but you do get the other players. And I still think the show's great. I'm happy to watch. Mm-hmm. So how many episodes do we get? 10? Is it almost over?
I think so.
Okay, so we probably have 2 more left. Mm-hmm. All right. So shows that are premiering soon. There are a few, but I will discuss just one. Rush Hour on CBS, based on the movie Rush Hour, Rush Hour 2, and I believe there was Rush Hour 3, starring Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. Thank you. So there have always, throughout history, been transitions from movies to TV shows. You have Are We There Yet? Based on the Ice Cube movie, Are We There Yet? About a family in a car. And then there's a TV show, Are We There Yet? Not starring Ice Cube. Vicky's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
What you're talking
about. Of all the movie
all
TV
the movies,
shows.
like, how about MASH? Like, why don't we start with MASH?
Sure. Or Parenthood.
Or Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Totally different show, right? Mm-hmm. But Rush Hour is premiering on CBS, and we do have a clip, and then we'll talk about Rush Hour a little bit, and then talk about some other TV shows or movies that made the leap to TV.
Carter, this is Agent Murray and Agent Weiss. They're here regarding
the airport heist. I'm way ahead of you. Already read the reports.
The crime took place on U.S. soil, so we're not obligated to include the Chinese in our investigation. But as a courtesy, the Bureau is allowing a detective from Hong Kong to consult.
We don't have time to look after a Chinese cop.
But you do.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you. Because it almost sounds like you're asking me to babysit.
I hope you hate it.
Hey, man. I'm supposed to be meeting some Chinese cop from Hong Kong. I'm Carter.
Carter?
Detective Carter.
Carter.
Do you just love my name, or do you not understand a word I'm saying?
It's not right that they stuck you with that clown.
Thanks, man.
I was talking to the Chinese guy.
I hate that guy. Come on. Come on.
I'm doubly offended because it's unfunny and a little racist.
Yeah, I mean, they're really going to go to Chinese people can't pronounce ours? Really? You're going to go there?
Well, did you see Rush Hour, the movie?
I have to admit, I never saw.
Okay,
I
so
never saw it.
It's very,
and there's more than one, right?
Yeah, there's three. Those movies are really funny. And that is why, this is going to sound terrible, but that's why it's okay for them to be a little, racist and have all these stereotypes, because the movie is actually funny. And you feel like Jackie Chan is both in on the joke and like not offended by it. This is just unfunny, so I'm offended.
Okay, it did not sound particularly funny. I have not screened it yet. Have not wanted to screen it yet. It's also just it's just very derivative. It's just buddy cop movie, buddy cop TV show. Mm-hmm. Putting two people who don't really fit together. I mean, like you're also seeing it on The Odd Couple, yes. Which can be made into a great sitcom and can be made into a terrible sitcom, which is the one that we have with Matthew Perry and Thomas Lennon, which is coming back pretty soon on CBS, I think.
Yes,
CBS.
Yep.
Just awful. And I think, when you're going to do the movie to TV adaptation, there's a couple of different ways you could do it. You could just do, this is a TV version of the movie, or I think you can do something that's far more interesting, mm-hmm. and do like a prequel, do what Bates Motel does with Psycho, which I think is very interesting. Mm-hmm. What Hannibal has done, and even though Jack Lugo, I know you love your Hannibal, couldn't watch after like 3 or 4 episodes because it's just too grotesque for me, but I do think very interesting. And then you could also do what they did with Fargo, which is just take the tone and the setting and just do something completely different.
Right.
That's much more interesting than just taking a very sort of basic hackneyed plot device and putting, like, why even do that? Like, they made a movie of Battleship.
They made a movie. Yes.
The game Battleship.
The one with Rihanna and Taylor Kitsch.
Yeah, it's like, why do they even have to market it to Battleship? It's just like
because they think
like the sailors versus aliens. It's a freaking
board game.
It's like, why even bother? Just come up with something that's more interesting.
That's
like
original.
I don't even know why they have to attach these things. It just shows you how bankrupt they are for ideas. That we're gonna do Rush Hour. We're gonna make a TV show rather than actually just sitting there and thinking for a little while and coming up with something original.
But see, here's the thing. I'm okay with Vicki. Like the last 3 shows, you've been on a level like 15. Okay, let's bring it down a notch.
I'm sorry.
I think there have been shows where the TV work is more of a derivative from the movie. So like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I think, is a good example. The movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer was very campy. It starred Krista Swanson and Luke Perry. And it was campy, and it was like a little tongue-in-cheek and whatever.
It wasn't what Joss Whedon had in mind.
It was not. The TV show Buffy the Vampire Slayer was completely different. Mm-hmm. It was a little darker. It was cooler, absolutely. and just had a completely different tone to it. I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're taking, like you said, you're just taking these two characters from the movie and basically doing the movie as a TV show.
It's like, why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because the device that you're using will fall by the wayside after a while on a 22 episode. I don't know how many episodes Rush Hour was ordered for. Probably like 13 or something. But it's going to fall by the wayside eventually. This show's going to go on for 3 years, and then what? Or it's similar to Elementary, which is based on Sherlock Holmes. It's different. So that's why it's interesting. I think that's the key here. And also I love Parenthood.
Yeah, I do love Parenthood. I like what they did there.
Yes.
I think they underestimate the TV viewing audience. But then again, people do watch these things. So maybe they're not underestimating them.
Well, Friday Night Lights is another good one. Friday Night Lights was a movie that I thought was terrible. I never watched the entire thing, but I didn't like it
it was
at
a book
all.
first.
Fine. It was a book that was made into a movie that I thought was terrible. And then it was made into a TV show that is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. And they took some of the same characters, but not all of them. And some of the same actors, but not all of them. And they made this endearing TV show that was underrated and was canceled. Even though I don't think it should have been. But now people love it. So I don't think there is a problem with adapting movies into TV shows. It just has to be done the right way.
And I think, with the right property.
And with the right property.
You can't just...
Well, remember when they made Clueless into a TV show?
Vaguely.
I actually thought the TV show was fine. It wasn't as funny as the movie, but it was fine.
Well, there are a few more adaptations coming up. You have Taken...
No.
Yes, absolutely. But they're doing it as a prequel to show you what Brian was like when he was, he was becoming the kidnapping killing machine that he became.
Okay.
One that I'm actually kind of interested in on the CW is Frequency. It's like one of these movies that I really loved. It was Dennis Quaid and Jim, whose last name I can never pronounce correctly, Caviezel, whatever.
Caviezel.
And it's one of the, I'm a sucker for time travel-y kind of movies. Dennis Quaid plays a cop back in the 60s whose wife, he gets murdered. And then his wife raises his son who becomes a police detective who starts investigating his father's murder. And then there's this weird thing with sunspots that allows him to talk through a ham radio to the past. So he's able to talk to his father in the past and solve crimes. I liked it. I don't know how they're going to make it into a TV show.
Well, it's going to be a procedural. Like every week there's going to be a new crime.
Yeah. Although it's weird because the great thing about the movie is that, basically he saves everybody in the end and everybody is alive at the end of the movie.
Even his father?
Even his father.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. And then something I'm absolutely excited about and also very scared for is, I don't know if you've ever seen this early 1980s movie called Time After Time. Again, you're seeing, I just love time travel. It is...
Except you did not like the movie About Time.
About Time. Which one was that?
That was the one with Donald Gleason. I
love that movie.
I thought you didn't like that one.
Chris with me. I'm sorry. No, I loved that
Your editor,
movie.
Chris, did not like the movie About Time.
That movie.
I love that movie as well.
Love that movie.
Okay, sorry.
No, Time After Time is about Roddy McDowell, or Malcolm McDowell. I get the two confused, I have to admit. Stars as H.G. Wells, was a time machine, and he finds a way to go into the future, but he's a pal who turns out is Jack the Ripper, and Jack the Ripper also goes into the future, and so they both wind up in early 1980s San Francisco with H.G. Wells in his 3-piece suit, little glasses and mustache, tracking Jack the Ripper down, around with the help of Mary Steenburgen, young Mary Steenburgen.
Of course.
It's like this one, it actually should be remade as just a movie, but they're remaking into an ABC television series, which I'm very excited about.
It's going to be canceled. On ABC, it's not going to work.
With Freddie Stroma from, I think is H.G. Wells, the guy from Unreal on Lifetime. So, I don't know. I'm very excited about it.
Well, look. As long as they make them in the right tone and they're not just taking the concept from the movie and transplanting it to TV, I think they could work.
Well, it's not like, an Odd Couple kind of thing. It's a very complicated, it's actually a weird thing. It's a very complicated, Frequency. It's just, I don't know how they're going to make it into an ongoing television series.
Right.
It's not just a simple conceit where you have two buddy cops.
What are you trying to say about Rush Hour? Yeah. Vicki, that's going to do it for today's show.
Oh, wow.
Well, I know. It breezed right on through. But we will be back with more to talk about. Producer Anthony will be here, and he and I will discuss reality TV shows that have jumped the shark, a la The Real World season 30, whatever we're on now.
Wow. Just now jumping the shark?
Well,
Just now?
Well, you know what? Actually, no. They jumped the shark like 2 or 3 seasons ago where they started throwing in all these twists. But the twist this season is that the housemates have to complete challenges. And if you don't complete the challenge, you get kicked out of the house and replaced by someone else, which is not The Real World. That's called The Challenge, which is another show on MTV. So we will get into that next week.
So it's really not jumping the shark, but defeating its own premise.
Kind of.
Okay.
And also jumping the shark. Because I was okay when they were just 7 strangers picked to live in the house. Blah, 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 blah,
Blah, blah, blah, blah. I can't think of the rest.
All right.
This is what happens when things start getting real.
The Real World,
Yeah,
yes.
that's
And then
right.
it would say San Francisco or whatever it was. Yes, that's correct. So don't forget to follow us on Twitter at TV Hangover Show, at E_meds, at Vicki Hy, VICKIHY. Follow us on Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, everywhere else. Ask your Amazon Echo to play us on TuneIn Radio. We are where you are. Until next week.
We are watching you.
We are.